Welcome everyone to Weather Impact Live on this Saturday morning edition. It's 11 a.m. right now as of this recording. Those were fantastic live shots we had for you across portions of the First Coast. I really liked watching the boat ramp, the Volano boat ramp. So it is, as you can tell, a great day to get outside. Look at this across the First Coast too. We have some clouds out there, but they're fair weather clouds. So if you want to go to the beach, the pool, what have you, it's a great day for it. I don't like the seaweed on the sand there, womp womp, but it is a good weather day to go out to the beach. And I'll have that forecast for you, your beach specific forecast in one moment. First, if you're about to step out the door, maybe got some lunch plans. Here are your temperatures. We're quickly warming through the 80s. And later on, we will be getting into the upper 80s and even the low 90s for some of you inland. So there's your pool forecast. You can see that our temperatures again rise towards the upper 80s to right near 90 degrees. In fact, here's your highs across the First Coast for our Saturday. So if you are about to head out, you can take the top off the Jeep. We don't have to worry about dodging showers and thunderstorms today. If there's a shower, it's going to be a very light, isolated, quick-lived shower. Most of us stay dry. We don't have to worry about those thunderstorms, which means it's a good day to get out to the beach. So I do want everyone to be aware, we do have a moderate risk of rip currents today. Winds out of the southeast 10 to 15 miles an hour. So that risk of rip currents is not a high risk, it's not a low risk though. It just means rip currents are absolutely possible, unfortunately. So please be very careful if you plan to go swimming. Our surf temperature is 80 degrees, so the water more comfortable to go swimming. Just got to be careful of those rip currents. Our low tide is going to be at 7 p.m. So high tide at 1 p.m. This is Jack's Beach specifically. And with a high tide of 1 p.m., that's when we have the smallest amount of beach. So we all kind of get crammed in on the sand there and with that seaweed. But after 1 o'clock in Jack's Beach, we'll get more and more sand from there. Our surf height and our seas today, 2 to 3 feet. If you're going to go out on the St. Johns River, the river temperature about 82 degrees outside. Also, you could be going to events. We got the Jumbo Shrimp game tonight. It starts at 6:35 p.m. It will be warm to start, temperatures in the middle 80s. And then we're going to be dropping down to the 70s by the end of the game in time for fireworks. So happy the fireworks are back now that we are done with the burn ban. In case you missed it, let me pull up that drought monitor for you. It's still not great, but it is better than it was. In fact, some parts of our area, coastal Southeast Georgia, some areas, only moderate drought conditions, which again, we don't want any drought conditions, but this is much better. Still, places like Lake City, you are under an exceptional drought, and still a large portion of our area under an extreme drought. So we still do need the rain, but we're not getting it today or tomorrow. So tomorrow morning, we're going to start off with lows in the 60s and the 70s. And then as we head into the afternoon hours on our Sunday, it's going to be a little bit warmer, or hotter, I should say, a little bit hotter. A little bit more humidity. Overall today and tomorrow, humidity values are good for like a summertime forecast. They're not as bad as they could be, but you will notice more humidity out there today than you did yesterday. And then same story tomorrow, you'll notice a little bit more humidity. Still, all things considered, our highs in the low 90s and our feels like temperatures only the low to middle 90s. But even more humidity will be on the way. So on Monday, we're going to stay hot. In fact, Monday's actually our hottest day. High temperatures near 93 degrees, but you'll notice even a little bit more humidity there. Then temperatures kind of drop back down to near 90 degrees. Let me pull up our temperature trend for you all. But there's more moisture in the atmosphere, so it's harder to heat up. But with more humidity, we will feel hotter. Our heat index values will be rising towards 100 degrees later in the week. So here's a look at our dew points, which is our humidity values. And these these dew points are going to climb back into the 70s. And in the 60s, yeah, on our scale, it's more humid, but really, again, it's not as bad as it could be this time of year. They will be back there by the middle of next week. Tuesday and Wednesday, it is feeling downright muggy and just humid. So with highs around 90 degrees, our feels like temperatures are going to be in the middle 90s to hundreds, even low hundreds at times. So next week we get more into that typical summer-like pattern, which is great for those of you who need the rain. But if you're trying to get outside and not be disrupted by thunderstorms, this is the weekend to do it. So notice that we are dry this weekend. That's also helping with those obviously lower humidity values. And then by Tuesday, typical summer-like pattern with highs near 90 degrees, isolated to scattered showers and thunderstorms. Now, it is possible we could be increasing our rain chances by Friday. Depends on what's happening in the Gulf. So let's get into the tropics. First and foremost, I want you all to know, no tropical formation is expected in the next 7 days. So here's what we're watching, though. You might hear a little bit of chatter coming up on social media or out and about. Late next week, we're going to watch for a plume of moisture to lift north out of the Caribbean and into the Gulf. There it is. This is the GFS model, and it's on the eastern Gulf, lifting north, and models keep it really disorganized. So again, this is a GFS. It tries to pop a little spin there, kind of off of the Big Bend region of Florida, but it doesn't actually organize into anything. However, you can see how that could send some heavy rain to portions of the first coast. All right, well, that's just one model. Let's take a look at the European model now. Moisture comes north into the Gulf and hugs the western Gulf, so not even near us. So maybe more just typical afternoon and evening showers and storms, and nothing develops there. So you can see there's a lot of disagreement between models. Where would that moisture go? How much does it develop? So the main takeaway is right now, NHC, National Hurricane Center, says no tropical formation expected in the next 7 days. And that's what models show. Even that GFS that tried to organize it closer to the Big Bend region, that's not actually organized into a depression or a named storm. But it could bring us more rain. I do think it could, if anything, just be a rainmaker for anyone along the Gulf Coast. But that is something that we will watch closely. So nothing too concerning right now. But again, if you hear chatter, that's just what we're looking at. Remember that we are always watching at this time of year, and you can always message us with your questions. That is the area that we watch this time of year in June. The more likely areas of formation for tropical systems, the Caribbean and the Gulf. So let's talk about hurricanes and storm surge and how, now is the time to prepare. You need to have your plan in place. You need to get your supplies while it's calm out there. Now is the time to do it. And also, our beaches, they're always getting prepared. They're worried about the sand dunes. So I have a package that I'm about to play for you. This is an interview I did recently on dune restoration and why it's so important to protect our coastal communities against storm surge. Let's take a listen. Keep off sea oats and dune area. That's not only to protect the vegetation and wildlife that these dunes are housing, but it's also to protect the life and property behind the dunes. Sand dunes are one of our first lines of defense against hurricanes. Storm surge encounters sand dunes first.
We're on a barrier island. Most of the coastline of Florida is a barrier island. So what happens is the dunes are the first line of defense for storms, northeasters, i.e. hurricanes. So the front of this dune will take the blunt force of all that rising water, which obviously protects our commercial and residential properties.
The dune absorbs the destructive wave energy and prevents water from flowing back towards our infrastructure.
And obviously the sand is a very heavy sediment. So with the vegetation, what happens is the water hits this at whatever force it is, and the back dune, which has a mass amount of vegetation, will hold in place. And we'll lose this sand, but we won't lose the back sand. So obviously we can rebuild this through nature or renourishment.
The vegetation helps keep the dune strong.
Roots hold the sand in place, and the more important thing is the vegetation catches the sand. Right now, you and I standing here, there is sand and salt spray in the air. We just can't see it. This acts as a net. So that net is catching the sand, and over time, this will rise. This dune will become larger and bigger, all because of the vegetation.
And walking on the dunes inhibits the natural growth of the vegetation.
And after Irma and Matthew, 80% of this dune was gone in 12 hours. Something that took about 12, I think we didn't have a major storm for 12 years, was gone in a 12-hour period. Now, what was the positive of that? The back dune, where vegetation is very thick, held. And that is because of the protection and the extra sea oats we plant. I do groups all the time, and we plant sea oats by the thousands out here continually. Get a group and they can contact me. I'm easy to contact one of the cities and say we're a group and we want to plant sea oats. They know how to get in touch with me, and I will organize it for them and we'll put them in.
The Duval cities are doing their part to protect the dunes.
Atlantic, Neptune, and Jack's Beach has really supported the program. Is not only supplying some of the product to make a dune barrier, but they also have established walkovers, public walkovers in high access areas, which is really helpful for decreasing the foot traffic that comes from those areas.
So stay off the dunes. Keeping them strong keeps our first line of defense against storm surge strong. In Neptune Beach, I'm meteorologist Lee Southwick. First Coast News on your side. Alrighty, we're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, we're going to talk about the International Space Station. You might have heard of a leak on there. Yeah, I'll give you the details coming up right after this break.
We have new details about a heavy police presence in Jacksonville Beach.
Driver fired gunshots along the interstate today, prompting a police chase.
Breaking overnight, police are investigating an officer-involved shooting.
Breaking news, a major crash on I-95.
Routine controlled burn got out of control. First Coast News was the only station there.
Stream extended coverage on First Coast News Plus. On Weather Impact Alert Days, stay informed, prepared, and connected with First Coast News and First Coast News Plus. Coverage that alerts you to what's coming and how it will impact you. Watch extended weather coverage with First Coast News and First Coast News Plus. The First Coast News Plus TV app. Streaming 24/7. Local news from the team you trust on your time. Track how the weather will impact your day.
Had the umbrella in the back seat, the rain jacket ready to go.
Extended, continuous coverage of breaking news, live from the scene.
Let's get some breaking news we've been following overnight.
Go deeper with in-depth interviews and exclusive reporting. All the local news you need, live or on demand. First Coast News Plus, complete coverage of your local news, weather, and more.
The First Coast News weather team has your most accurate forecast with weather impact alerts to warn you about severe weather. Our team is here to help you prepare and keep you safe.
The First Coast News weather team is always on your side. Stream extended coverage on First Coast News Plus.
So on Friday, there were some concerning moments on board the International Space Station, at least for a while. Take a quick listen.
Station Houston on Space to Ground 2 for all USOS crew members. Need you to execute procedure, EMER procedure 3.4, Crew Dragon establish safe haven. And if we need to suit up, we will do that once we're inside the Dragon. We will not suit up prior.
Fine. We do have a big picture update for you, which is that our Russian colleagues have elected to perform measurements only today. So with that, we are comfortable backing out of the safe haven config.
So NASA ordered the astronauts on board the International Space Station into safe haven mode and directed them to move to the Dragon capsule for a short time on Friday. It was a cautionary move as Russian crew members began an operation to repair a worsening air leak on their side of the space station. However, officials later decided to move out of that safe haven configuration after the Russian crew elected to just take measurements only on Friday. The leak has been a known issue on this Russian service module, which is a key structure of the football field-sized laboratory. The air leaks have been relatively minor in recent months, but escalated on Monday from a pound of air per day to 2 pounds, according to a senior NASA official who asked not to be named. A NASA official also says periodic partial repairs have been made in the past to mitigate the effects of the leak. So we'll keep an eye on that. Of course, you know, here we always keep an eye on everything space related. All right, we're going to take one more quick break. And when we come back, it is time for a lot of people's favorite part of our Saturday morning shows, Malcolm Minute. We'll have Malcolm in here right after this break.
We have new details about a heavy police presence in Jacksonville Beach.
Driver fired gunshots along the interstate today, prompting a police chase.
Breaking overnight, police are investigating an officer-involved shooting.
Breaking news, a major crash on I-95.
Routine controlled burn got out of control. First Coast News was the only station there.
Stream extended coverage on First Coast News Plus. On Weather Impact Alert Days, stay informed, prepared, and connected with First Coast News and First Coast News Plus. Coverage that alerts you to what's coming and how it will impact you. Watch extended weather coverage with First Coast News and First Coast News Plus. The First Coast News Plus TV app. Streaming 24/7. Local news from the team you trust on your time. Track how the weather will impact your day.
Have the umbrella in the back seat, the rain jacket ready to go.
Extended, continuous coverage of breaking news, live from the scene.
Let's get some breaking news we've been following overnight.
Go deeper with in-depth interviews and exclusive reporting. All the local news you need, live or on demand. First Coast News Plus, complete coverage of your local news, weather, and more.
The First Coast News weather team has your most accurate forecast with weather impact alerts to warn you about severe weather. Our team is here to help you prepare and keep you safe.
The First Coast News weather team is always on your side. Stream extended coverage on First Coast News Plus.
Alrighty, welcome back. So we are now in the last segment of our Saturday morning weather impact, and we have Malcolm in the building.
Hi guys, glad to be back on the show.
Wait
for it.
Where is he?
Wait for it.
Oh, the suspense. The suspense is killing us. Oh,
hey!
there we go.
Glad to be back on you guys' screen. How you guys doing? Let us know.
Welcome back, Malcolm. What do you want to talk about today?
Yeah, I hope you guys are enjoying this beautiful weather. You see the 7-day forecast there. I want to talk about next week's for a little bit, like a week from today.
Okay.
I won't be here for Malcolm Minute next week, unfortunately, guys, but because I'm going on a cruise.
Okay, that's
so
awesome.
I've been paying attention closely to every day, like the tropics forecast, and I know there's no tropical development expected over the next week, but still got a little rain trying to spin up, but as you guys are saying, like it's not gonna spin up into and like create into like a tropical storm or anything like that. Well, but scary,
so
just like in the Gulf.
Where are
and,
you
yeah.
going?
I'm going to the Bahamas.
Okay,
Yeah,
so you're going to
cruise
be on
the
the
Bahamas.
eastern side of Florida then.
Mhm,
So that's
yeah.
more promising because if,
Okay.
you know, it looks like it's more of a Gulf situation, but it
Mhm.
depends on which model we're watching. So like you said, right now the National Hurricane Center says no tropical formation in the next 7 days. But
Sweet.
we will, by next Friday, be watching the surge of moisture lift from the Caribbean. So let's just look at those models again. Let's go through it because
Okay.
now I'm really interested. I'm going to really focus on the Bahamas. So for everyone watching with us, the Bahamas are all those islands off to the east and southeast of Miami there. So we're going to go ahead in the future. Here's Thursday. There's that plume of moisture lifting over Cuba.
No.
This is just one model.
Okay.
This is just one, but yes. That is unfortunately sending some moisture over there towards the Bahamas. Not all hope is lost. So look at that. You get some dry pockets here and there.
So it doesn't leave till Saturday. So I don't know how far ahead it goes.
Where are you leaving out of like Cape Canaveral, Miami?
Yeah.
All right. So
Saturday, like afternoon, I believe like 3.
Okay, so here we go. Saturday.
Oof.
There's some rain in the area.
Ah.
There's some I don't like that. No. So this is just one model though, but that one
Okay.
it would send rain to you in the Bahamas. It would send rain to us here on the first coast. Okay, so let's look at the European model now. We're going to fast forward. Okay, hold on. Thursday, Friday. Oh, it froze. Oh, hold on. Thursday, Friday. Here we go, Saturday. So what this is showing, although you see the green out there, the rain, this is more of a typical forecast. Like, you know, you're going to see some thunder. It's the tropics. You're going to get some thunderstorms in the afternoon, but it's not like that all-day washout. Because this model here, the European, you see how it's, you see it better back. You see how it's trying to spin in the Western Gulf?
Yeah,
so
way different.
Mexico.
Yeah.
People going on a cruise to Mexico, now they're like, no!
I know, exactly. Way different. So like you said, just like, you know, the models.
They got to agree for us to be confident. So that's why, like, right now, I only have our forecast set to a 40%. I'll pull that up really quick to show you guys. But that's with the caveat that, hey, if the GFS model's right, that is surging to 60, 70, 80% potentially, if not Friday, then into Saturday. So lots to be determined. But I actually have a model here too, or a graphic that kind of tries to compare both models. And I like it because it shows how weak both of them are showing it. So, okay, fast forward, Friday. There's that. So we get the big open circles.
Yeah.
When it is like a tropical storm or a hurricane, you're going to have a lot of like really tight, close circles together. So that's just showing that it's weak. So yes, I do unfortunately think it's going to be a rainmaker for someone in the Gulf.
Yeah.
Someone next week.
Right.
Hopefully we're not getting Arthur, which is our first named storm, out of this.
No, seriously, yeah, it's way bigger issue if that were the case than just me like going on, you know.
They might call you back to work. We
Right,
get our
exactly.
PTO canceled if something pops up.
Exactly.
Do you know anyone on this named list?
That's a good question. Okay, our editor Sally. It's not spelled like that, but that's.
We do know a Sally.
We do know a Sally.
She's right over there. Wonder what Sally would do.
I have a classmate, a college classmate, whose last name was Edouard, or it's like a French like last name. Edouard,
Yeah,
or
and
Edouard, I think it's.
I saw it.
pronounced.
You know what? Hold on. NHC pronunciation has a. Last I saw it, it looked like they just pronounce it Edward. But they
Edward,
spell it like
okay.
Edouard, you know, like you said, like French.
Yeah.
Because all of the names are origins of languages where that storm could potentially impact. So there are French-speaking islands, and that could be impacted.
Yeah,
and
like
so,
Haiti and like French Creole.
Exactly.
I know. Well, I don't know him personally, but my favorite college football team coach. His last name is Cristobal, Miami Hurricanes. So Mario Cristobal. But yeah, I don't know any other. I know a Kyle.
I didn't even think about Cristobal, Miami Hurricanes. If that's a hurricane, that's really interesting. That's
right.
funny.
That is funny. I would be like, do I have to switch teams now? Or like,
my
I don't
answer
know.
is yes. I think you should come over to be a Gator.
I don't know about that.
You're wearing the blue for me right now.
I am. I have to rip it off or something. No, I'm just
No.
kidding.
Well, I also this storm scares me. I remember these storms, they get recycled every 6 years, the names, if it's not devastating and destructive. So 6 years ago, we had Cristobal. That's how they told us to pronounce it, Cristobal. And I got, rightfully so, viewers who can speak Spanish very well and said I pronounced it wrong. And so I think it's Cristobal. But like you said, now the Miami, their head coach, his last name, do you just say Cristobal?
Yeah, Cristobal.
Cristobal?
Yeah.
Maybe.
So, yeah, it's like, I don't know.
We'll see how people pronounce it now. That's like a very well-known name now.
Or maybe just don't pronounce it at all.
Maybe it's not even a storm.
Yeah.
That's what I always try to make sure I pronounce it correctly out of respect to that country and that region.
Right.
So it, I'll be nervous about that one. We'll see how that one goes. And Isaias also gave people some problems last time.
Yeah, that would definitely give me Isaias.
Isaias. But again, I don't want anyone to log on right now and just see this and say, oh my gosh, why are they talking about it? Let me just pull this up one last time since we have under a minute left. No tropical formation expected in the next 7 days. And this weekend's beautiful. Malcolm, are you getting outside this weekend?
Oh yeah, I'm gonna have to with the temperatures looking like that. No rain in the forecast. I'm gonna have to.
I think I'm gonna try to go to the beach after work. I don't know.
Oh, is there? I meant to ask that. Is there still sargassum out there?
We can see it on our cameras. Unfortunately, it looks like there is a lot of seaweed. That's a good picture to end with. I'm going to show that right now. But you can see.
Oh, people are still out there.
They're still out there, though.
Yeah.
So don't let it discourage you.
Right.
Everyone get outside. Enjoy this beautiful weather. Look at those blue skies.
Yes.
All right, Malcolm, thank you so much for joining me today. Thank you, everyone at home, for watching, too. I hope you all have a great rest of your Saturday.
Bye.